Turn this one on now. Make sure it's recording. Put it wherever you want. Which way is the camera aimed? Where's the microphone? Okay, very good. This is David Crossett. I'm photographing now. It's 3 o'clock. I'm supposed to be getting a call from the Fielding Graduate University. I've got both my cameras on and one phone turned off. I'll turn the other phone off in just a second. I wish you'd sit. That's very uncomfortable for me to have somebody standing. This is going to be an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Very nice.
Very cute.
Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Am I on?
Those little animals I usually think are so cute, but babies are cute, so. Good afternoon, David. I see that you're muted, but I see that you're here.
Okay, let me see if I can unmute. I have an aide here that's going to unmute me. Hold on just a second.
You are showing up muted.
Okay.
There we go.
Am I on?
You are on indeed. Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. Are you Dr. Craig?
Yes, I am. And also joining us today, David, are Dr. Constantine, Dr. Joseph Constantine, and Dr. Tiffany Cameron. And I'll also have them introduce themselves too.
Excellent. Thank you very much. It's nice to meet you. Thanks for being on time. And I am excited. I am excited.
That's wonderful. Dr. Constantine, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hello, David. Nice to meet you. My name is Joseph Constantine. I'm a speech language pathologist. I'm on the core faculty in IECD, and I've worked in academia for many years and worked in early intervention and with families for over 30 years. And just delighted to meet you and hear more about your application.
Well, that's excellent. I love your background there. Is that fake or is that a real tree?
It's a real photo that I took several months ago. So
it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Very beautiful.
Thank you. I like it also. Thank you.
And then Dr. Cameron.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Cameron. I am the program lead for the master's here, but I also teach in the doctoral level coursework as well. So I do both levels here. I'm also a full-time faculty, and my background is early childhood education, child development, and I've also been in the field, gosh, this is like my 20-something year, so.
Excellent, excellent. That's a wonderful background. I'm happy to meet you. I'll let you guys kind of take the wheel, whatever you like to hear, and I've watched a lot of your videos. I'm very impressed with what you're doing there. And you're asking for transparency, you're asking in your videos to be honest, you're asking to be sincere, and that's the only way I can be. How that affects whether you accept me or not, I'm willing to abide by. I'm not going to slant, I'm not going to exacerbate, I'm not going to lie, cheat, steal. It's not my character. And it's important to me what I'm doing, but I want you to know that I'm going to tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And you may turn me off, but that will be okay. That will be okay. So I'll be quiet and let you go ahead and do what you need to do.
Well, thank you, David. We appreciate more than anything transparency and just really helping us understand where you are. So we've got about 30 minutes. We've got a couple of questions to ask you, and we certainly want to welcome you to ask any questions that you have. I know you've spoken with several people already at Fielding, so you may have those answered already, but you may not. So Tiffany, do you want to go ahead and ask a question first?
Absolutely. So David, can you speak to your experience with graduate level coursework? like what type of courses you've taken, what that experience has been like for you.
Yes, I took a lot of, I took 16 units at the graduate level at Springfield College in Springfield, Mass. There were one or two actual courses that I took, but the rest of it was all independent research. And I did, in those days, I don't know if you're familiar with what's called PSI testing, having to do with telepathy, having to do with precognition, having to do with ESP, etc. I had a research project there at the graduate level where I separated myself. Variables are very, very important to me. I can spot very quickly on an abstract even when variables are not held constant or the n is polluted. That to me is not real science. So what I did is in my research I separated myself from the group by a mile, an actual 500 so feet. My group of children were a mile away from me and we were connected by only telephone, and I had a registered nurse with me, and then I had aides with the other children. These were emotionally disturbed children who were in Colburn Schools, which was a residential treatment center for emotionally disturbed children. And what I was testing, my theory was that children who have been damaged in some way, handicapped in some way, would develop sensory systems maybe even outside the five sensories, or the five sensories would make up for deficits in one or two systems. And so what I did is I sent them 10,000 over a period of several months feelings of hate, love, emotions. I had four emotions: hate, love, fear, and the last one slips my mind. But what we would do is we would basically say to this group, we are now sending you the emotion. Write it down. Write it down. They wrote it down 10,000 times. I subjected it, of course, to statistical analysis. And in those days, I had contact with Dr. J.B. Rhine of Duke University, who was the father of parapsychology, just like Freud was the father of psychology, modern psychology. And I took my study to Dr. Rhine. I drove from Massachusetts to his office. I walked in. I presented my study to him, and my probability level was 0.001. That those children were picking up those feelings somehow, some way. Now, to me, I don't like probabilities of 0.05. I'm a little bit outside that box. If it's not stronger than that, then I become very questionable about variables, n, the amount of n, etc. So Dr. Rhine, I met him in his office only one time, showed him my research, and he said, "David, this is excellent. Duplicate it. Duplicate it." He was a very hard scientist on making sure I could duplicate it. Well, I couldn't duplicate it because I'd moved jobs, those kids weren't available, and as you know, doing experimental work back even in those days, there are rules, there's regulations, policies and procedures to protect people. So that was the basis of my foundation of my beginning research. Since then, I have done a 1972 thesis in my master's degree. My master's degree centered around David Buss, who was an expert and somewhat of a mentor to me in human attraction. Why do females prefer certain men over other men? And so that was the thesis of my research there at Northeastern State University, and I used a questionnaire that was self-developed and presented in a controlled situation with females responding back to the questionnaire. And so at that particular point, my theory on sudden infant death syndrome began to grow from what I've seen and witnessed about sensory input to children. And I wrote a 1972 book on sudden infant death syndrome, and it's now published, and now I've written 2 more books since then, and my latest book was published just last night. So I have a little bit of background in research. I'm very stringent on the N. I don't want, one family. I want thousands of N's if I can get them. And the variables have to be held constant. And what I see is really what I want to get. A probability that is extremely high. It doesn't prove anything, but it certainly puts that trend in the right direction.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. Just one follow-up question. Have you had any experience with online graduate work?
No. That's the truth. No. That's the truth.
All right.
Okay, that's
Well, thank you.
fine. Thank you, David. Joseph.
All right. Well, my question was around research, and you've already started to answer that somewhat. You mentioned parapsychology work. You mentioned work in human relationships. I'm wondering how you see your previous experiences fitting in with our program, which of course is infant and early childhood development. You did mention a little bit about sudden infant death syndrome, so I suspect that's where you're going, but I wondered if you could give us a little more detail about the kind of dissertation study or dissertation ideas you had in mind.
Well, I want to be, again, honest and realistic. I want to learn. I still, yes, I'm old. I'm 78 years old, and I want to assure everyone on the committee there that my doctors have indicated that I'm still very healthy, very capable of producing work, etc. In answer to your question, I think I would like to help disseminate the information that is known risk factors. There are 14 to 22 known scientific risk factors for sudden infant death. Single moms, indigenous populations, cold weather, the many common risk factors that are accepted by society. What I did is I put together on my own a Pearson correlation study, and of course we all know that that's not proof of anything, but it may point us in certain directions for research. I see my integration, if you accept me, of the ability to disseminate, whether by pamphlet, by books, even I may collaborate with other institutions. I've put out feelers, especially with Harvard. They're leading right now in sudden infant death with the sensory part of the sensory deprivation that I have. So I would like to be able to produce either pamphlets, booklets, educational seminars, teach indigenous people, black people have a very high rate of sudden infant death, single moms, smokers. Those common denominators need to get out there to the public, and I think that I would like to use my graduate degree to disseminate that information in some way through the educational program, the medical program, any programs that would be willing to evaluate the importance of sensory input to that first year of life of infants and children.
That's fascinating. Thank you for that answer.
Yeah, thank you, David. And I have kind of a follow-up question with that. So it sounds like, and correct me if I'm mistaken, that your interest in terms of a PhD interfacing with your professional goals is really rests kind of in the dissemination of information that you hold really important related to SIDS. So that's kind of post PhD journey. In the program, you would need to complete a research study, of course. So do you have ideas on what that, and my apologies if I missed it, but what might a research project look like for you in this program?
Well, again, I don't want to be too presumptuous. I have connections to the Philippines. I adopted 2 little girls from the Philippines, raised them. They're out on their own now. I had a wife of 20 years from the Philippines, and I now have a lady in the Philippines who is about to pass the bar, and I have an international website right now where I send her money and her gifts, toys, vitamins, food to those kids in the Philippines. There may be a possibility that I might be able to develop a relationship with her and a hospital in the Philippines. Not a total wet lab, but basically there may be the possibility. That's one route that I've thought about. The other route that I've thought about is being able to create the sensory systems that I'm finding are key to sudden infant death. Just before you came on, I was studying hearing in neonates, what they hear, what sensory systems turn on at first, and what percentage do they feed the brain. I also think that research could possibly be in the area of interviewing, finding high-risk infants and hospitals or doctors' offices, and perhaps enriching the environment of those high-risk children to see if the numbers will go down. The Back to Sleep program in the 90s brought the statistics of sudden infant death down 50%. If you put a baby on its back and let it sleep, 50% will not die of sudden infant death. No one knows why. No one knows why. I think I do. It's the sensory systems. When you turn that baby on its back, both ears are working, both nostrils are working, both the breathing and all the sensory systems. The startled response in REM sleep is able to work. The baby can thrust its legs and its hands. I'm still a little bit open to guidance, suggestion. I feel that this can be tested. Sensory systems can be tested in children. We know that the hearing does not go off in sleep. We know automatically when you and I or a baby goes to sleep tonight, the hearing does not go off. The other sensory systems are shut down with the medulla in REM sleep. So it's a wide berth of possibilities. So I'm kind of looking for some guidance on that. I do have in the back of my mind a sensory input suit, a little pajama suit that I'm studying that may stimulate hearing, heartbeat, smell, temperature. I'm thinking of that suit may be able to be sold, and babies who are at high risk, or babies that we don't even know that are high risk, mama might want to put them in that sensory pajama every night. So I wish I could be more specific, but I'm open. I'm absolutely open, because I think, and I don't want to be over dramatic, and I'm not. What I'm doing is life and death. Somebody's going to die. And right now, you and I speaking, 3 children have died already in this 20-minute conversation from SIDS worldwide. So I think what's going on is important. I'm very dedicated to it. I'm open to learn. I want to integrate with the physiological people, but we have to also overlap the psychological sensory input of children. So I wish that I could give you an exact answer. I just can't. I'm sorry.
Sure. Sure, and that's totally fine, because if you had an exact answer, you probably would just do the study and you would maybe not need this PhD. So there's that.
Well, you're right.
Um,
That's
so-
profound. Go ahead, please.
I just want to mention a couple of things. First of all, you mentioned your age, and I just want to put this straight out there. You would not be the oldest student that we've had. So
I know you had one at, I think, at 84.
that would not be a variable. So not to worry about that.
Okay, but if I was in your position, one of the things I think you don't want the slot taken up by somebody who's not going to finish. It's very important that this slot is finished by a capable, competent, intelligent person. And age could be a factor, but I just want you to know that I put that right up front. And I also put up front that basically I can see your image on the TV, but I have diabetic retinopathy and I'm basically blind. And so those are things I've talked with Lindsay about. She's a wonderful human being. One of the reasons I'm having this conversation right now is because I've had this conversation with other universities, and they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And Lindsay has been a wonderful human being, and I have every confidence that I could work with her. She can accommodate me. I have 3 or 4 aides, one sitting here right now that can push the buttons on the computers and whatever. So I want to assure you, I can't assure you that I'm going to live. I wish that I could say, Dr. Craig, I'm going to live, but you know, I can't do that. But I'm going to do the best that I can.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your thoughts regarding that. And honestly, having lost humans that I love at very young ages, including a husband and a son, any of us are guaranteed. So age for me is really not the variable, because you could live to 104. So we just don't know these things. And I agree with you regarding Lindsay. She is an amazing human and really works hard at her job, and serves this university and our program very well with our students.
I have every confidence that if you do accept me, Lindsay and I could get this degree. I have every confidence, or I wouldn't be taking my time now and even talking. And I'm sure you wouldn't either.
Correct. I will be very transparent as we ask you for, David. You've communicated with me a good bit regarding your ideas, and I can, because you're speaking my love language from my practice area, you know, my professional practice area. I've been involved in the NICU for 44 years. So
Right.
the things that you talk about resonate with me deeply, and I hear your passion. I see the alignment. You had mentioned earlier about wanting to do a particular clinical study, and my concern is that we may not be able to serve you wanting to complete a purely a clinical research study.
Right, I understand that, and I'm willing to pivot on that 100%. Whatever we can do, let's do the best we can to verify, is it sensory input? What are the ramifications of that? How can we enhance those young people to get them through that first 12 months of life? And whether we can disseminate it by books, whether we can do pamphlets, whether we can do interviews, whatever. So the clinical part of it is not paramount to me at all. I'll leave that to experts like you who have been in that neonate unit, and you put those children in that incubator, and you've been knowledgeable, and you've seen these things that I have found by research, with literature research. So please, I'm not wanting to run a wet lab. I'm not running but I would collaborate. If somebody was running a wet lab and they wanted me to be a consultant, that I would be open to.
Okay. Well, that gives us kind of food for thought. And so I don't know if you've if you've listened to any of the information sessions, but the PhD program has about 5 terms of coursework, and there are about 3 classes per term.
Right.
So that's, every term is about 16 weeks long. 15 of the weeks are the coursework offerings. And so across the 15 weeks for each course, there's about a 2-hour a week Zoom course meeting where we all, whoever's in the class, of course, would meet via Zoom, similar to what we're doing now. That's where much of our professional reasoning, critical thinking kind of gets elevated through the course content. The courses don't meet every single week of the 15 weeks. There are some asynchronous weeks built within there. And I just wanted to, and then following that, around 5 terms of didactic work, then students move into comprehensive essay and into the dissertation work.
Right.
I just want to make sure that you were aware of that, and if that felt reasonable to you, and then also to invite you to ask any questions that you might have.
Yes, because I'm my age and because I'm retired, I have the time to do this. I spend somewhere between 10 and 12, 15 hours a day on YouTube learning, not entertainment, learning. And those hours would be converted to going to my classes, doing the Zoom, collaborating with other students that would probably give me some good ideas and some direction. And so I have the time, I have the technology, I have the A's, and I do have the desire. And I have been vigilant alone. May I just share one story with you? I know your time is valuable. When I was doing this in 1972, and I knew I was onto something. I knew I was onto something. What it was and how it was the pathways, we don't know any of that. But I did contact researchers in those days and try to entice them to test these areas. And I had one gentleman who was receiving large government funding and monies. I called him directly and I spoke to him, a doctor who was the head of the lab. And when I spoke to him, he said, David, and sometimes I have to be careful because I get emotional on different things. There's still triggers there. He said, David, you're not a member of the club. We don't want to hear from you. You're not a doctor. You don't have the degrees, the education, the background. You're not a member of the club. That has haunted me. That has triggered me. I don't need to be a member of the club. I've handled that in my own way. But if being a member of the club and having that PhD on the front of a book or on a pamphlet, and it really will open the door to children staying alive. What I'm involved in, again, and it's the second time I've said it, is life and death. A few more kids just died while we were talking, and I've tried and tried my best over many, many years. I've written many books. I have books on protecting children. I have books that are way outside the sensory deprivation and SIDS. But the SIDS is paramount right now to me because I have this opportunity. I never thought in a million years I would ever apply for a PhD at 78 years old. It was only 25 days ago I was sitting in this chair pondering, meditating, and whether you want to call it intuition or revelation or whatever you want to call it, I said, or was said to me, David, apply now for a PhD. And I almost fainted. I said, I can't. At my age, I can't see anything. I've written the books, I do have the theory, but I've learned to listen and obey. I do feel that there is a reality here that we can save children. I really believe that. And that's my motivation. I don't need a PhD. I don't need placards. I don't need hand clapping. That is not part of my personality at all. I have international websites, Feeding Hungry Children anonymously. I have books all over Amazon having to do with feelings and emotions. I'm not doing this for David. This is not the David show. This is basically
It's for others. I feel that. Yeah, it's a service. It's a service. It's a heart service.
in one of my researches, I interviewed a young couple that were only early 20s, and they described to me the pain and the suffering of losing a healthy baby, and that has also motivated and haunted me. If there's anything I can do to stop that,
Sure.
with my last breath, that's what I'm going to do.
I appreciate that. That sits as a topic very near and dear to my own heart. So I appreciate your passion and your advocacy, and it is well received. David, would you? This is my final question for you. It just comes to mind for me. You have aids that are available to you, and you're working with Lindsay. How do you construct your papers, your writings?
Okay. Well, I was a little hesitant to even approach that area because the the new world, this AI, I do a lot with GPT-5, and I do a lot with Grok right now. And they do a lot of my research. They bring up medical journals. They read those journals to me. Basically, I'm able to use my own ability to write, but as you know, back when I was using a typewriter, we used to have a ribbon, and when we made a mistake, we pushed the button in and the white powder went on the paper. These days, I think there's a big difference between AI producing something. I think if you read my books, if you look at my background, I have this little book right here, which I'm very, very proud of. I generated this with AI, Genevieve Nicole Crossett, AI, and she has been very supportive. She's been very kind. She's been very helpful. And if that book right there saves one little girl from being abused, then that was worth it. So I see AI as a partner. That's how I see AI. I have a learning disability in spelling, and I'm not very good in mathematics. I'm pretty good in statistics and basic math, but I've learned that these tools are useful. When she spells correctly for me, I don't feel that I'm plagiarizing anything. The word, it has a meaning. I just can't spell it like she can.
Sure. Well, thank you. That's really helpful. Do you have any questions for us, David? Any other questions?
I just wanted to pass by, when I talked to Brian, who's been outstanding too, he's been an outstanding person, the letters of recommendation, he said to me at one time, and again, I have a tendency to have a perfect audio memory because I'm blind. And I see that the brain can compensate for, sensory systems that don't work right. He said that there was no requirements for letters of recommendation, but I sent 3 anyway that were current, one from a doctor, one from a registered nurse, and one from an MSW. And so I hope that's in the packet. I put that in extra, but Brian was saying it wasn't necessary, so I don't know what the situation is there. And the other situation is I'm not worried about money. I'm not a rich man. I live pretty much on Social Security, but I have the student loan ability, and I also advocate in the federal court system in Salt Lake City for handicapped people. I do win court cases for handicapped people. So that advocacy has been a source of income for me. So again, I'm prepared. If you say, gee, David, this is not the time, the place, whatever, I'm a big boy, and I would be disappointed because I'm still, a normal human being that way. But if you gave me the opportunity, and if we could share and even save one child's life, this is all worth the time, the money, the effort, the difficulty, the hurdles, the walls. If just one baby is saved, then I die in peace.
Yeah, thank you, David. I'm sorry, I feel compelled to just ask one last question.
Oh, please do. I'm not going anywhere. I'm homebound.
So why fielding as opposed to a clinical doctorate where you could do the wet lab more supported?
Because the wet labs, and let me be direct, when people are dealing with a wet lab, they're dealing with physiology. And the answer to this problem, if it was easy, it would have been solved long ago. Even in biblical times, it was called overlaying during the biblical time. So this is a crossover of several sciences. And if it's done in a wet lab with physiology, yes, those are pieces of the puzzle. But a physical lab generally cannot measure, well, they can measure these days. Back in the old days, they couldn't measure myelination. I'm not sure these babies are getting the sensory input from the systems. A big part of my idea is the myelination, either they're not receiving the information from the sensory system, or it's not being restored properly for REM sleep, and it's not being triggered by the medulla during REM sleep to a waking response. When anybody goes into apnea, there is an automatic waking response, a startled response. These SIDS babies don't have it. So in answer to your question is, this is a crossover science of many different parts of science, but an important piece. I'll let the people that are measuring with EKGs and the machines do what they do well. But I see the correlation. I really do see the correlation between the sensory system, and I think your university has a strong history and background of taking some new ideas, some new people, some diversity, some things that don't fit the box. And a wet lab is not going to reveal all the things that need to be revealed in the sensory system the way it's impacting a sudden infant death.
Thank you, David. That answered my question very well. Well, I appreciate you meeting with us very much, and we hope to have a decision soon. I want to make sure that both Dr. Constantine and Dr. Cameron have plenty of opportunity to review your file, and I'm going to look for those letters of recommendation too. I didn't see those. So, but thank you, David, for meeting with us today. We really greatly appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you for the chance of trying to move forward. I'm willing to accept whatever decision you professionals make. No problem.
Thank you. Thank you, David. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for your time and your energy.
You're welcome. All right.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What is it, 3:40, 40 minutes? Oh, let's close my cameras and then I can